What's up, guys? Today we are installing switchbacks and fog lights on Marcus's Altima right now. There are no other videos of this online, so I'm pretty good with electrical stuff, so I thought I'd show you how to do it. And so all it is you are replacing this turn signal. Look, it even has moisture in it, so it's good we're replacing. Oh yeah, it's cracked. Got a fat crack in there, so we're gonna replace these with switchbacks that are like sequential, and then in place of this ugly flat black thing, we are going to put another bezel with a fog light in it, and I'm going to show you which wires to run everything to and how to do everything step by step for you guys that know not a lot about electrical or just want to see how this is done. So Marcus is already on the verge of trying to pop this off. So we got our panel tool remover, which he is not using correctly, but whatever you need to do to get this panel off, there's just a bunch of pop clips all around it that'll cause this to pop out.
I don't want to break this thing. This might not be the best way to do it.
You don't want to break it, but we're already replacing, and there's already a fucking crack in there, so you might as well learn. See, there you go. All right, well, just pop this baby out, Marcus. Come on.
It's breaking.
You got it popped out, and just kind of pull it out. Pull it out. All right, so if you see on the back, there is 1, 2, 3, 4. He broke that. 5, 6 of these, and all there is pop into all these. Oh, look, that's where the stock fog light would go if you got that model, but no, you got the crappy Ultima model. And so it holds this on, and there's the bolt there, and you can undo that and take it out. And if this is actually a true plug, we might even be able to tap into this to run the wires, and that'll make everything way easier because there is a stock plug right there. It's just a plug blocker, so it protects it. So all holding this on is a 10 millimeter. So you get the 10 millimeter out, and then this just pops out like the other did. You just have to kind of yank on it a little bit. Try to pull on this.
Pulling the bumper off.
There. And see, there's a couple clips. You twist that, and then here's your bulb. This will probably be halogen on theirs, but he upgraded this to LED. And so then you can cut this wire loom back. Just the loom that covers it, not the actual wire, but you can cut it back.
We'll show.
And then whatever. So these are some sharp scissors. I'm just going up a little bit, cutting, up a little bit, cutting. I'm not actually cutting the wires, and then I'll just trim this, and now it's easier to get to the wires. I'll figure out what they are later. This is probably the power wire, this is definitely a ground, the black, and then this is probably the accessory wire. So I'll be able to tap into these really easily. I might not even need to run a power wire all the way out or a ground to the frame. I can just probably do it all from these wires and make it way easier. So what I'm doing now, you don't have to do this, but I'm just gonna do it to help y'all out. So this is a test light, and right now I have it hooked up to the frame right there, and right here is the turn signal harness, and then I can also do it for the whatever. Oh shit, I just pulled it off. But I can also do it to test the fog light harness also. So what happens with what you can do with the test light is if you put the test light, if you hook this up to a ground, then if you touch the positive, this will light up. But if you put this to a positive and you touch it, then it'll light up because it creates a circuit. So if you touch this to a ground, then this will light up when it hits a positive. If you put this to the positive, then this will light up when you hit a negative. So that's how I'm going to test for the positive and negative. So on the other side, there's a black wire, a seafoam wire, and then a pink wire. But on this side, it's black, seafoam, and then white. So I'm pretty sure the black is negative and the seafoam's positive, and this one's just the accessory. So that'll be really easy to just wire it into real quick. I can probably just snip this right here, take this off because you won't need this anymore unless you just want to tap into it like this and keep this just in case you don't want the switch back. You can just easily put that back into the stock one if you want to sell it or whatever. So this will be pretty easy, but I'm going to hook this up to the frame and then test to make sure that this is a positive. All right, so we have this hooked up to the battery ground just because we couldn't get a good enough ground. And so see, I can stab one through here. See the black? Not lighting up, not lighting up. And when I put it to this one, see the test light lights up. And so now whenever I move this to the positive. See how it lights up like that? And so now I'll press, so whenever I press to the black, it'll create a circuit, and see now that's negative. And this one doesn't go, oh, it goes off for negative because it's the accessory. So this is what you'll plug the yellow wire into, is this white one right here. So we know for sure that this is a positive. See how it doesn't light up whenever it's hooked up to the positive? It does not create a current, but it creates a current to the ground and the accessory. So now we know how to wire it up, and we don't have to run a shit ton of wires throughout the car. We can just crimp them into this. I don't know why iJDM Toy makes such a bad thing for that, but you can just save lots of time and whatever to do this. But in order to run the actual switch for the fog lights, you are going to have to go through the firewall or fender or run it out some way. But other than that, for the actual turn signal, it's going to make it nice and easy. Here's everything that comes with the kit. This is just a film, so it is clear, but you got this from iJDM Toy for the, was it 2015 to what year?
Well, it's 13 to 15. 13
to 15. All right, so he got the yellow, more JDM ones. So this is the fog light that goes on it. This is the actual turn signal. So these are gonna, what are they?
It's an LED white strip.
So they're sequential.
Yeah, you have an LED white strip, and then it blinks orange.
All right, so that's what that is. So I was thinking this was the actual, this went where the fog light goes, but this is actually where the turn signal goes. And this is the fog light that goes in the bezel underneath it. And here's the wiring for it. It's got like inline fuses and stuff, and then it comes with instructions. So when you get the kit, it comes with all of this stuff right here. If you can see here, there's a little gap in between the bezel and the lens. So that would allow moisture to go through all around it, and you don't want these to fog up. Even though they're technically called fog lights, that's not what they're made for. You see there's a little gap in between all that too. So we went out to O'Reilly's and got some clear silicone. So we're gonna pop this open and seal it up and smooth it with our fingers, so that way we protect this from getting moisture and water in it, so that way it doesn't short out and look bad because you can see all the moisture on the lens. So we're going to do that now. That stuff stinks. I don't smell it. You don't smell it? It might smell good. So you can see all the silicone, and make sure you get these too, because I don't know how well you can tell, but you can see all the way inside the lens by that plastic clip, and then on the corners especially, there's like you can fit probably like 3/4 in that little gap in that corner. So make sure to fill it in thick with the silicone, because you can never have too much. It's just if you get it, like I got it on the lens a little bit, like right there, but that'll just wipe off easily. But just make sure everything is nice and sealed up, because there's like a constant little gap in between it. And so also with these,
this is your, like, the DRL box. So on these, when you turn the blinker on, they flash orange instead of just having a bright, fast white light. So these are really cheaply made too.
yeah.
I guess you could say cheaply made. It's a good product, but they don't take their time, I guess you could say, and they just.
So there is silicone on this, but if this does go bad, it can cause the whole thing to not work also. But this one does look like it's siliconed up. I might put a little bit more on those just to be safe, but that one at least is. And
any electrical on this?
Even in Chinese, yes, definitely going to silicone. So this is the fog light harness. I'm going to go over this with y'all so y'all understand. So whenever you stretch it out, see, you're going to see one plug that comes out short and one plug that comes out long. This is to stretch to the other part of the vehicle. So for instance, if I'm going to put this on the driver's side, so this will be the driver's side fog light, that'll be the passenger side fog light, and then it'll come up to this. This is a relay box. I don't know why they did it like this, but that's how they chose to do it. So in this relay box, this is what's going to control it, and so this is a ground, so you'll ground this out to the frame or bumper bar. You can get a self tapper, and just self tap that into the bumper bar. And then what this is an inline fuse, just so if you get too much power, it'll blow this before it strips all this down and catches that on fire. So this, you can splice this into another power wire that you can find, or you can put this all the way up to the fuse box, which is what they're telling you to do, but that's unnecessary, and this is even long enough, so you're gonna have to extend this out regardless, probably. And then this is the accessory wire that goes into this plug right here, and in this plug, this is the black is ground, the red is positive, and the white is accessory. And then that plug goes into the switch, so you can replace this if you wanted to. You can go to O'Reilly's or some other store and get a switch, and then that's what those are. On the switch, it'll tell you the 3 plugs, so you'll put the what is that, the whatever, I think that's the female adapter on that. And so you'll put that to the ground, that to the positive, and that to the accessory, and then comes off of this is another ground, so you just ground this off to the frame, or another ground. And this power wire, which is excessively long, you can put this to an inline fuse in your fuse box. It's just an inline fuse that plugs into in place of the fuse, and then it has a power wire, and then you can crimp this to it to cause that, or you can put these two together inside wherever. You can just, however you want to route it. So this is the whole fog light harness, and I'll go over the turn signal harness now. So here's the turn signal harness. I don't know why they made this one yellow so long. See how they made this one plug short and the other long? They should have done the same thing with the wire, but it's whatever. So this plugs into your driver's side turn signal. That one plugs into your passenger side turn signal. This yellow wire is the wire that you're going to tap into your turn signal plug. And when you unplug it, there's going to be a couple wires that come off of there, and you're going to find the one that's power, that actually gives power to the turn signal, and you're going to cut that and tap into it with this. And then here is the box that's probably going to be mounted right next to the relay for the fog light. And then this comes off, and this is a headlight dim output, so you could put this to your headlights and make these dim if you want, which we're not going to do because it's unnecessary, and we want them to be as bright as possible whenever the headlights are on. So we're just going to cut that back and not use that. This is going to be another ground that it says battery negative or ground. It's just, we can easily just tap this in, or you could probably even do it to the same hole that you're drilling this with. Just put it on the back, that way this goes straight through the self tapper and mounts there. And then this is the positive, so you can splice this together with the positive for the fog light. That way you don't have to run a bunch of wires. You can just snip it. Make sure you do it after the fuse, that way you can still have the fuse in line just in case you get too much power through it. And so you can snip it there, combine it with the other one, run it to the power in the headlight or whatever. So what I did, I just tucked it back there, and I took the other side. You saw there was another plug with another yellow wire. I fed my arm back there and put it through here, and I ran it all along the bumper. You can barely see it through there. Yeah, see the yellow wire? And then I pulled it through right here, and now I'm going to cut this plug and wire this to that and make that work. Alright, so on the other side, all you're going to need to do, see, this is the constant power, constant ground, and the signal power. So all you're going to do is wire the yellow one up to the signal power and just leave these two plugged in, and just tuck that back there also. But I just checked it, and this works also. I put the emergency lights on, and this flashed amber, because these are going to be constant LED, like white LED, whenever you don't have your turn signals on. Then you turn your turn signals on, and these will flash amber, because the amber overpowers the white. So as long as you have this hooked up and crimped together, it will all work. So now that we're done with the DRL install, if you want to make this really easy on yourself for the fog light install, all you would have to do is get the fog lights, wire them into that, and then make it easy. And then you'd have to buy it. If you don't have fog lights, which you obviously don't if you're installing this, you're going to have to get the stock, which is that and the other piece, and it just slides over, and then you have the fog lights, and then you can control it from that. So that would be really easy. That'd take like probably 20 minutes to do because you just wire it in like that and then you'd have it in or whatever. But what we're gonna do is just wire up fog lights as if he doesn't have that at all, and that's gonna make it wait. It's gonna take longer, but it's just gonna have it like that or whatever. So we're gonna get the fog lights, and this one's gonna go to that. It's gonna go to relay, so we're gonna have to run it to a power and ground, and then we're gonna have to run that really long switch all the way up into his car. All right, so I already have the fog light harness in. I ran it the same way. It comes out there, the other side's there, and then the relay is just chilling right here. And what I was able to do was the white wire that goes and plugs into this switch right here that goes to the switch that goes in the car. I ran it through because we're taking the fender liner down, so if you turn your wheel, he's got bigger wheels on his car, so this does make it harder. So if you have the stock wheels, it'll be way easier. But we took the fender liner off that area, and if you look, there's a grommet right there that goes into it, so I'll be able to feed that through. And then what I did with the red wire is you can see all the way to the ground. Yeah, see right there, that little hole, you can see my shoe covering up. My shoe's just going back and forth. I was able to run the red wire up and just put it straight to the battery easily like that. And then for the ground on the relay, the ground's pretty short, so I was just going to tap into the ground off of the blinker assembly. See this black wire? I was thinking about just taking this crimp off and just adding this into it because it just needs a ground. It doesn't matter. They all ground out to the same spot somewhere. So I'll ground out to that and then put all this crap back, and then we'll continue running it right there. We'll put the wire straight down. Just kidding, we're gonna run the wire through there and have the switch come through, and then we'll have the switch up there. So all I have is the ground coming off of this to this, and see, I just spliced those together, and now I'm going to take this and slip it over. I might need to trim a little bit more back so I have more. And then this is the ground for the actual signal lights that goes to the harness. So they all ground out, and that's all that matters. So I'm gonna crimp these together to that, and then this will be like 2 grounds in one, so I can save whatever. And he is inside the car working on getting the white wire out there because that's not long enough to go in, so they're going to connect under the fender well, and we'll probably zip tie it up just so they can't loosen up and unplug. So he is in the car right now.
You see this, all this, like this, what's this called again or whatever? Just like carpet.
Sound deadening carpet crap.
It looks like this. What you do near all this wiring and shit, this little pillar, you pull it all back, just pull it down, and you'll see your little hole.
Grommet.
Yeah, little grommet, and then I already have a sub wire right here. Yeah, so
shine it right.
You see it?
So wait, point your finger to it.
It's right there. You'll see the red wire.
Oh, it's way up there, like there.
Yeah, there you go.
So the grommet's there, and that ends right under the whatever.
Yep.
Look at how I'm freaking sitting in the car right now trying to record this, right?
Alright.
That, and then he's gonna run that through, and then I'll grab it from the other side. So if you see that, see his fingers sticking through? I'm gonna try to reach in and grab that now while recording it.
Got it?
And you see, I grabbed it, and now we can plug these two together, and we will have our switch ran through the firewall the easy way. And see how I put these in, twisted them, folded them over, and then zip tied this up just so this does not ever come apart. And you can see it runs into there, and now we'll do all the rest of the work in the actual car. So here is the switch in and all the extra wire. You can trim this down and cut it shorter if you want to, but for him I'm just going to tuck it all up. And so you have the wires that come down, you have the ground, the positive, and then the actual switch wire. So for the ground, they put this convenient clip on it, so you can just put it to any piece of, any bolt, and it just slips over. So that's what I went ahead and did with that. And then for the power, what I would do is, he already has an inline fuse. You see, that's what I was talking about. You just put it in the fuse, and then out comes this little wire, so I'm just gonna tap into that so I can just not even worry about anything else. So I'll cut this shorter, get another butt connector and just put it in with that wire, and then I will route this switch up through here. I'll poke this out with my finger. I might even be able to do that right now. So I went ahead and got a screwdriver and just pried this out. All I'm gonna do is route this switch up through here, up through that little hole, and just have this sitting around that area. So this is the inline fuse. This plugs into the fuse box in place of any fuse you want. And so the fuse that this is going into works even when the car's off, so we'll be able to turn his fog lights on and off even whenever his car's off. So this will just plug straight into this power wire, and then he'll be able to do it and it'll all be done. So now we have this big wiry mess right here. So I got this one zip tie. I'm gonna zip tie it all up under it so you cannot see it at all. So if we look under, I just zip tied it all up there. So now it's all out of the way and you can't see anything. Just tuck that up a little bit right there. So here it is, on, off, on, off, on, off. So now we're gonna plug them in and see if they work. We don't have the bezel on, wherever it is right there, but you can see the light right there. So now I'm gonna press it on the button and boom. Look at that. We gotta put the bezel on, but we are done with the install. And he's got his yellow JDM lights in. So here it is installed. You can see the fog lights sitting a little to the side just because they don't mount. So we've been trying to trim it off, but these fog lights just don't mount. So you're probably gonna have to trim some of the edges of it off and then mount it. And then this, when it clips in, it'll hold it on pretty well. So everyone, thanks for watching. This is how you install the switchbacks and fog lights on a 2013 to 20 whatever Nissan Altima.